Hey y'all, hi. Listen, I am still getting used to my new hair. I'm still getting acquainted with it, I think is what I would say. This is just what we're doing right now. I've never seen any of the iterations of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but something tells me that I'm really serving someone who lives in Whoville today. I've just been messing with it so long that I've completely lost perspective and I need to get this video off the ground. So no judgy, okay? Today, I'm telling you no judgy, but I am going to potentially be a little bit judgy because this is a beauty fails video. I just collect things that I feel like can be called or considered fails, and then when I get enough of them, I film one of these videos. That's what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through and tell you why each of these products has disappointed me enough to land it in this video. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Hannah. I really love beauty and beauty products, and I enjoy working in the beauty industry in this capacity. But I try not to promote overspending on my channel. So if balanced beauty content sounds like it could be for you, then please subscribe. And now let's go ahead and get into the meat of this video. Fail number one is something that I already talked about in a recent empties video. So I was going to say I won't go on at length, but I always say that and I always do. No matter what's going on, no matter what the weather, I always go on at length. And I was going to say I'll try not to repeat myself, but really all I can do is repeat myself because what I said in that video is the reason that this is in the beauty fails, which is that it smells like fruit punch. It's the Dr. Teal's foaming bath. And I actually have had this before in a lavender scent, which was lovely. It is not in and of itself a fail. The Dr. Teal's foaming bath is not a fail. I actually think it's a great product, especially since my no-buy year and since I changed my relationship with spending. I've gotten to the point where I frequently take a bath with nothing exciting in it because back when I used to feel like a bath wasn't a bath unless it was full of like bubbles and color and glitter and all scented and everything like that, I was bathing myself out of house and home, right? I was just spending too much on bath products. Because I like to take a bath much of the time. I prefer to be in the bath. Really, in any given moment in the day, I would rather be in the bath. That should be my bumper sticker. My other car is a bathtub. I really do my best thinking in the bath. I almost exclusively watch television shows and movies from the bath. The point is just that I am a connoisseur of bath products. I also became aware, because my passion for bathing overlapped with the years of my life during which I overspent on beauty products, that stuff that you put in the bath so that it's not just plain water can really, really add up. It doesn't feel like it is, but it can really add up. The thing that's great about this is that it's quite inexpensive for how far it goes. So I think it's like $6.99 or something. I got this one at Ulta. And you get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of how exciting it makes the bath because it provides bubbles and it provides that muscle relaxation because it has Epsom salts in it. Just because I started saying it and then I kind of got away from the topic, what I was trying to say is that it's also okay to take a bath that doesn't have stuff in it. I'm telling myself this as much as I'm telling you. Letting go of the need to have every bath be an exciting bath full of bubbles and stuff has really made it so that I can continue to have a healthy relationship with bathing without bathing myself out of house and home. And I don't want to elide over that because, the least expensive bath is the one into which you don't dump any minerals or essential oils or foaming agents or anything. But this is just a mere step up from that. It's a really great budget option. However, this one, the Glow and Radiance Vitamin C Citrus Oils one, is in the Beauty Fails video because it smells like a kid's shampoo, kind of. Just like whatever they've used to make it smell this way, and they're saying it's citrus, it's just too high C fruit punchy. It smells like a Capri Sun, which, yeah, arguably there are citrus ingredients in it. Some of the fruits in Tutti Frutti are citrus fruits, but that's not a citrus scent to me. It just reminds me very much of really fake scented stuff from my childhood. It really, really smells like it's for kids in the 1990s. Not just any kids, kids in the 1990s. Of all the directions in which they could have gone with developing this scent, I feel like they picked the worst one. It wasn't so offensive that I stopped using it and wasted it. I mean, this was in my empties, clearly. I used it up. But I probably used more of it at one time every time than I would have done if I had enjoyed the scent and if I had been trying to make it last in a reasonable way. It just smells fake and kind of sweet, but in that sickly way, like fake sugar, not sweet, not like comforting, warm and sweet. I don't know. It says it's made with vitamin C and citrus essential oils, but I really cannot smell anything that smells like an essential oil. I'm against it. Let this be a lesson to us all. If you want to smell like you're a child in the 1990s who has just taken a bath in some sort of color-changing foam as seen on TV product, then get it. But I don't want to smell like that, and I did not relish smelling like that, so I'm not going to get it again. This is a product that smelled so terrible. Not everything is smell related, but many of the things actually are kind of smell related here. It's very smelly beauty fails. This is a sheet mask that smelled so bad when I opened it that I could not bring myself to put it on my face. It's the Miss Spa Platinum Age Defying Sheet Mask. Age defying? What does that even mean? What is it to defy age? It's like, I'm 37. No, I'm not. Sometimes if you just step back half a pace from the language of beauty marketing, it's like, what kind of alternate universe are we living in? It's so surreal. Anyway, this age-defying sheet mask, I just needed something. I was trying to rehydrate and rehabilitate my very dry skin. I was at Ulta. I got a couple of sheet masks, just ones that weren't too expensive and seemed like they would probably be fine. I opened it up and it smelled like glue. I don't even want to smell. I should though. Yeah. Ugh, now I'm getting it. I need to smell it again so that I can really describe it. It just smells like a very strong glue. The kind of glue that you wouldn't want to get on your hands. The kind of glue that might come in like a kit for building like a scale model of the Eiffel Tower or something. It's like the glue that you use to glue the pieces together. And you're like, let's open a window so that we don't inhale too much of the fumes of that glue, which is just the last thing that I want to put on my face, like on my skin. I cannot speak to the efficacy of this mask because everything in me, all of my instincts, once I smelled it, screamed, get that thing away from my face. As a product, all it's supposed to do is go on your face. So I feel like that is the definition of a fail. It also it has this it says it's colloidal platinum is the premium ingredient. And then I think maybe to make you feel like you're getting a lot of that premium ingredient, it's like silver. Do you see this? It has this goopy silver water leaking out. And that was the serum that was on it. And when I opened it and I saw that, and then I smelled the glue smell, I was like, this seems like the Emperor's New Clothes. It seems like some sort of trick that someone's playing on me to try to get me to put something that smells and looks and in every way seems like it would be bad for my skin onto my skin. And I don't know if that silver stuff is the colloidal platinum, the famous colloidal platinum from the front of the packet, but if that is what that is, it's like, why? Why is that good for your skin? No, the fourth ingredient is mica. Yeah, this was made to look platinum-y. When I'm trying to deeply nourish my skin and sit with something on my skin for a long time, these kinds of shiny effects, I don't want them involved. Okay, third, this may be a contentious, what do people say? An unpopular opinion? I don't know. This was PR. And I'm very grateful that Urban Decay continues to send palettes to me, even though I pretty much only skewer the formula. And that actually might tell us all we need to know about this, which is the Naked Half-Baked mini palette from Urban Decay. I'm going to get into it about why this is a fail for me, but I feel like it's worth saying what I kind of always say about these Naked palettes, which is that I suspect that they're designed the way that they are for a reason, and that there are people for whom they are ideal. The very qualities that make them ideal for some people, maybe for the primary Urban Decay customer, make them fails for me, have made all of them fails for me, except for the Stoned Vibes one. I really liked that. But that had a lot of pigment, a lot of creamy, strange stuff going on, duochrome, crushy, blendy business. I love that kind of thing, right? This is just a straight up neutral palette, beige, but leaning very, very orange, which is a little bit of a frustration for me, right? When something looks like it might be bronze, but then it's actually just copper. But it's just the way in which these are pigmented that makes this a fail for me. And I feel like the best example is actually the dark brown, which is called Edible. It looks fine. It's not like kids makeup, but now it went and gave me an amazing swatch, and it looks incredible right there. So that's me just like buffing out that swatch, which I don't know, maybe there are like really good matte shadows that behave this way as well. I know that a swatch doesn't always tell the tale, but what I can tell you is that my experience with this is that it just feels a little bit frustrating and dusty to work with. So my experience of this is as follows. It came in PR. I was like, oh, exciting. I'll get a chance to see whether they've changed anything about the formula, how they are kind of like presenting themselves these days in terms of what the eyeshadows do. I put it on my vanity, and then for a couple of days right after it arrived, every time I was doing eye makeup, I would be like, okay, I want a dark brown. And instead of dipping into the dark brown in my Pat McGrath palette, which is right on my vanity, I would open this and go into this dark brown, dip my brush in, start trying to deepen up my outer corner, and it would just be like very milk toast. You know what I mean? It's just not what I want, which is something very pigmented and easy to control so that I can really paint the little tiny painting that I want on my lids. It felt like it was sort of getting lost in whatever other eyeshadow I was using, buffing away, dusting away. And I had the same experience going into the shiny copper because I wanted a shiny base shade on my lid. It just felt like once I got it on there and buffed out, it was like all the shine had been killed just in the process of applying it. This shade Rocky, which is like supposed to be maybe even a tiny bit duochromy, like a gold to pink. That is the kind of thing I like putting on the inner corner, on the brow bone. But the same thing would be true every time I reached for this palette in order to help along whatever eye look I was doing. It just felt like it was dusting away and it wasn't very high impact and it wasn't giving me what I want. And Half Baked too, which is the famous shade on which this palette is based. Under the beauty lights, it's actually looking really shiny. Right here, it's actually looking really pretty. But in use, in my experience, it just applies and buffs out as kind of like a dull gold that leans orange. The last thing that I want. I've just found myself having absolutely no use for this palette in spite of having it on my vanity and in spite of trying multiple times to make it work. I know that some people have really loved these little palettes. Again, I don't think that they're just absolute garbagey trash and that it's just like kids makeup. I think that that kind of lightly pigmented across the board or less high impact across the board style of eyeshadow formula works for people who want to go through all the motions of like putting something in the crease, building a darker color in the outer corner, putting something shiny on the inner corner in the lid, but they don't want to end up with something that's high impact at all in any way. They want it to end up as kind of like a desaturated, almost watercolory version of the kind of eye looks that I like to do, which are the darks are really, really dark, the lights are really bright, the glitters are really multidimensional and shiny. The brow bone is gleaming with like wet look glitter and it's layered, all of these like different colors and textures layered on each other. And my lids are kind of like dripping with eyeshadow. You know what I mean? I just can't get anything approaching that with this. And I also can't make these shadows play well with the other eyeshadows that I prefer, which are eyeshadows that do work for that kind of thing. So I keep giving Urban Decay a chance whenever they send me their palettes. I'm fully aware that they know their market and they know their customer, and it may just be that I'm not their customer. So I'm at least generous enough to say that this is probably a matter of personal taste and what I want out of makeup, but it was definitely a fail for me. And it wasn't just the formula, it was also the colors and the way that the textures translate the color, because it is supposed to be a neutral palette, and on me, it's an orange palette, no matter what I do. So I hope it's fair to be including it in this video. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that's useful information to some of you. Okay, another product from my ill-fated trip to Ulta. I don't know if you can tell from what I've said over the past several videos, but there was one evening a couple of months ago on which I went to Ulta and got a couple of things for bathing, like bath salts and stuff like that, a couple of sheet masks and stuff to rescue my skin. There were some definite hits and some definite misses, and it was a little bit weird all around. And the Ulta was robbed while I was in it, which has never happened to me, and it was kind of scary. I was like standing in the back of the store and someone came in, like stole perfume and then ran out. It was a very weird evening, okay? And one of the things that happened was that I purchased this candle because it smells like a dupe for Capri Blue Volcano. And I love the, what is it, Capri Blue or Capri? I feel like if it's Capri Sun, it's Capri Blue. I used to love the Capri Blue Volcano candle. I used to buy it for myself as a treat every once in a while. I used to burn it constantly, like in my early 20s. It's like a very sweet, sharp citrus, but also really comforting. It is an example of a very very good citrus scent. I wish that this smelled like that. It was kind of what I was hoping that this would smell like. I wanted to get a candle at Ulta because I hadn't bought a candle since we'd moved. There wasn't really anything in the house to, make the house smell good. We just haven't had time or the wherewithal to acquire anything like that since we've moved here. And I was like, if I really want to complete the project of having a really special, relaxing bath time, then I should get a candle. So I was looking at the Ulta candles. I didn't really know anything about any of the brands. Most of them didn't smell good to me. And I was thinking to myself, wouldn't it be amazing if I could find a dupe for the Capri Blue Volcano candle? Because that's like my favorite candle scent. Lo and behold, it was like I manifested it. As soon as I said that, I lifted the lid off of this one, smelled it, and I was like, oh my goodness, this must be a direct dupe for that because it smells exactly like it. It's a sparkling clementine candle. It's an Ulta brand candle. I actually think the container is kind of cute. I like the fact that it has a lid because I like being able to lid the candle to extinguish it so that the smoke doesn't get everywhere and the house doesn't smell smoky. It's a glass jar. In every way, it was promising, right? It seemed beautifully made, and it had to be because it was expensive. I think it was like $20 or something. Yeah, it's pretty hefty, but I kind of hemmed and hawed about it. I was like, am I going to spend $20 on this candle when the brand is untested to me? But all signs pointed to yes. I got it. I got it home. I lit it, and basically no scent. Like I could not smell the smell of volcano, the citrus smell from the bath, basically 3 feet away from where it was burning. It did not fill the upper floor of the house with its scent. It did not even fill its immediate vicinity with scent. It's not even an issue to me of it having a bad scent throw. It doesn't have a scent that it gives off when it burns. And when it's not burning, when I open it, I can sort of smell it. Like I can smell that Capri Blue Volcano scent. I can smell the sweet citrus. But weirdly, the smell of the burning smell from the charred wicks is stronger. Like what I smell when I open it is just smoke. And that smell is strong enough to overwhelm the very, very weak waft of scent of the wax. So it's weird. It feels like the wax is scented, but it's not scented in such a way that it gives off scent when it burns. And I don't know anything about candle making, but it seems like a cheap trick. It seems like the kind of issue that a cheap candle would have, but it wasn't actually that inexpensive. I feel like this same size of the actual Capri Blue Volcano is like $25 or $30. So more, obviously, but not wildly more. It would definitely have been worth it to me to buy that instead if they had had such a thing at Ulta. I really regret getting this candle. And I burn it every once in a while, just, I don't even know why. For the mood of like the lighted wicks flickering in the steam in the bathroom when I'm taking a bath, but not for the scent because it doesn't, in my experience, really have one. And the final product in the Beauty Fails lineup is oddly also a candle, but it is the opposite of this candle in absolutely every way, including the reason for which it is included in this video. When I went to visit my wonderful friend Simbri up in New York, she gave me an incredible, indulgent gift that I was so stunned and grateful to receive. It is that gift that is here in the Beauty Fails video, but I want to make it clear right up front that this item is not such a fail that I would in any realm wish that Simbri hadn't given it to me. But since I'm filming this video, I just have to include it because, well, you'll see, okay? It's the Tom Ford Bitter Peach Candle. It smells so good that I'm like losing my mind just sitting here holding it. Here, I have a question, some intel gathering. If you have smelled the Bitter Peach Candle and you've also smelled Tom Ford Bitter Peach, the actual scent, does the perfume make you smell like this? It's sweet and I do love a gourmand, but because it's the bitter peach, it has this like spicy, almost musky quality to it. And then it's not very fruit forward. Like the peach has this warm dessert presence. It doesn't have that biting quality of fruit. I am so obsessed with it. It's like improving my mood just sitting here smelling it. Almost everything about this is the greatest. Okay, so the scent first and foremost is incredible. The scent is very strong too. It has the opposite of this. It throws the scent basically throughout the entire house and then it lingers. Aesthetically, who could ask for anything more? I mean, it's like the most beautiful. I'm a total sucker for this like monochromatic moment. The wax is this gorgeous, opaque, burnt peach colored wax. The aesthetic is so on point. I'm definitely going to keep this jar forever and use it to store things in after I've finished burning the candle. So it's just, you know, the gift that keeps on giving in that way. Everything about it screams luxury, and it is very luxurious and wildly expensive for a candle. I have never had a candle that costs as much as this one does, and it just feels like the most special thing on the planet. However, it's tunneling. You can see, right, from the way that it's burned right now, and it's been doing that since the first time I burned it. So tunneling is when a candle doesn't heat the wax evenly all the way to the edges of the glass, and so it starts burning a hole into the wax, leaving wax on the sides of the glass. And the reason that candles do this usually is when you light them for the first time and you don't leave them burning long enough for the flame to heat the wax all the way to the edges, because the wax has a memory. So this candle, for example, is not tunneling. You can see it's burned down a little bit, but it's burned cleanly. That's because the first time I lit it, I left it lit until the entire surface of the candle was liquid. And that way, every time I've lit it since then, it has liquefied the entire surface. If you light a candle and it just starts liquefying, it starts liquefying like in a circle, the way that you can see this one has. It gets to this point where just a circle is liquid and the edges are still solid, and then you blow it out the first time. Then every time you light it after that, it will only liquefy as far as the initial burn circle. And it will burn, it'll tunnel, it'll burn like a little tunnel. Clearly, I know this about candles, have known it for a long time, and you had better believe that the first time I lit this, I was like babying it, and I was making absolute sure that I left it burning for long enough, and I left it burning for hours, maybe like 5 hours or something. And what happened was it liquefied a circle almost all the way to the edges of the sides, like a bigger circle than what you see in there now. I'll tell you what's going on right now in a moment. Almost all the way to the sides, but the corners were too far away from the wick for it to heat the wax in them. And I think that maybe the wick was really short or something, or it just wasn't burning hot enough. I don't know what was going on, okay? And I've done a lot of research since then, and I cannot figure out why, because it doesn't seem like a giant surface area. But what happened was it started tunneling on its first burn. Like it burned a circle, the edges stayed hard, and then I was leaving it burning for so long because I really didn't want it to tunnel. A little sinkhole started forming. Like it started tunneling. And I was like, this can't be happening. My exquisite Tom Ford candle, the greatest gift I've ever received, cannot be tunneling. I gave up the ghost that evening and blew it out before I went to bed. The entire house has smelled amazing since then. Side note. And the next day I did a bunch of research. So one of the ways that you can fix tunneling on a candle is to put a piece of tin foil over it and cut a little hole in the middle so that it can still get oxygen, so it can still breathe and burn. And then you burn it. And what happens is it gets extra hot inside underneath the tin foil because the tin foil is trapping the heat, and that extra heat melts the edges of the wax that didn't get melted by the wick the first time. And then you let it all set together. And then the next time you light it, the wax remembers that it was all melted together, and then it starts burning cleanly to the edges, voila, and your tunneling is fixed. So there are people all over the internet who have had success with this method. So the next day, I did that. I tented with aluminum foil, I cut a hole, I burned it for a couple of hours, and the same thing happened. It didn't solve the problem. It didn't melt to the edges at all. So strategy number 2 is to use a hairdryer. And I took my diffuser to it, which is good because a hairdryer with like a full blast of air would like blow the wax all over the place. The diffuser evenly heated the surface, and that actually worked. So I used the diffuser, blasted the surface with hot air. The entire surface of the candle melted, and I was like, aha, success. This is going to cancel the tunneling because the edge, all the way to the edges, it was all melted together into one nice, beautiful, solid, liquid surface, a solid liquid surface. And maybe this is where I made my mistake, because what I did was that with it all melted, with the entire surface melted, I lit it. I guess I was thinking with it all melted, if I lit it and it burned evenly and it all stayed liquid, that would help reinforce the memory. That might have been the wrong thing to do, because what happened was with the entire surface of it liquefied, I lit the candle and it started tunneling again. It's like there's nothing I can do to get the flame to heat into these little square corners. This is how far I got on that time. And then I was like, I can't do this anymore. My new plan is to take the diffuser to it, melt the entire surface, and then let it harden and then light it. And maybe that will work. If you know things about candles that I don't know and you know what I can do to prevent this from tunneling, let me know. Either way, any way, it is not ruining the experience of the candle. Simbri, I'm really really, really, really grateful that you gave it to me, and I still love it with the passion of 1,000 burning suns. That's actually why I'm trying so many different ways to get it to burn cleanly. But really, Tom Ford, that's my question. Really, you're making this candle which costs over $100, a haute candle with a designer scent, and it's tunneling on the first burn. Is it user error? Did I do something wrong? It's hard to believe that this is on Tom Ford, but at this moment, that's kind of how I feel. And that is it. Those are my recent beauty fails. I hope that this video was at the very least entertaining, if not informative for you. And you know, it's a little silly. I'm highly aware sitting here filming this video of how special it is, how lucky I am to be able to take baths and to be able to review Urban Decay palettes and to be able to be living in a house with this candle and smelling it, whether it's tunneling or not. And I'm trying to cultivate an ability to be appropriately critical so that I can give thorough reviews while also really appreciating how special it is to even have these things to be critical of. So I hope that that is clear. I really appreciate you for being here and watching this video, and I hope that you will take extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.